Summer travel for me is always focused around the outdoors, lots of road trips, camping, beaches, hiking, backpacking, that sort of thing. Today we've got a roundup of gear as we get ready for our summer adventures. Let's get into it. First up is a bag I've fallen in love with. This is the Everything Bagpack from Alpine Sea Co. I'm a huge fan of totes when it comes to summer adventures and travel, beach days, picnics, road trips, that sort of thing. Tote bags always come in handy. This is a new brand for me, Alpine Sea Co. They're actually based right here in Oregon with me in the Columbia River Gorge, one of my favorite parts of the state. This isn't just a tote bag though, it's actually a tote bag backpack hybrid, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. It is definitely first and foremost a tote, but if you flip it around on the back side here, you can see that the handle straps for the tote bag actually convert into a little backpack. Getting into the basics though, it's 23 liters of capacity. It measures 16 inches by 14 inches and it's about 5.5 inches deep. This exterior fabric is an X11 canvas. It's a 10-ounce cotton duck canvas sailcloth. It's essentially a cotton X-pack, which I honestly didn't even know existed, and I love it. A large portion of the interior is actually unlined, but the lined portions are a 200D recycled poly fabric. You also get YKK zips and Duraflex hardware and this really great design on the tote handle. Organization is really simple but nice. On the exterior, you have two side pockets that could act as water bottle pockets or anything else water bottle shaped if you want. You do also have one zippered compartment on this side of the exterior. And then moving into the interior, you have one zippered pouch that kind of hangs on the top for quick access stuff like keys and everything, I would imagine. And otherwise, it is just one big empty cavern. I think this is just the right amount of organization. Like I said, I use these for like beach bags and camping and stuff. You want a little bit, but not too much, so you can put whatever you want in here. All the stitching and construction looks really nice. I love the materials that they used here. If I had one complaint or request for a revised model in the future would be to have this tote handle be removable because you can't like fully open the bag without having this tote handle in the way. It just kind of comes with the territory with having the hybrid for the backpack, but I feel like there could be a way to have a detachable handle of some sort there. But otherwise, I really love this, and this is my new favorite tote, and I love that it's optionally a backpack if I need it to. And it's also just really great that it's made, so close to home here in Oregon. One other thing I got to try from Alpine Sea is their utility mat. This is essentially a little waterproof blanket picnic mat type of thing. I use these all the time, one for actual picnics at the park and stuff, but they come in handy all the time at the beach, and they come in really handy for camping too. This one is an aggressively orange, neon here, but they also have an olive drab one. It's made out of a 200D Eco Pack, folded up like this. It measures 13 inches by 8.5 inches. When you unfold it, it measures 45.5 by 54 inches. It's kind of a hexagon type of shape, so not a full normal square. All the stitching looks really great. It also helps with the fold lines to be able to get it back in this position really easily when you're done with it. You also get a nice hook clasp here so you can close it up and kind of keep it nice and small and secured. Very simple, but incredibly useful if you're someone that spends days at the beach or at the park or camping or anything like that. Next up, we've got the OGERY F11 camping fan. When I first saw this, I admit I was quite hesitant and thought it just kind of looked like a piece of generic Amazon junk, but after testing it and using it the past couple of months, I'm really impressed and really do think there is a good market for this. It is a camping fan with a built-in battery, so you don't need to plug it in or need an additional power generator or anything like that. The fan itself puts out a pretty strong breeze for something at this size, especially battery powered. It's rated for 300 CFM. Measures 13 inches by 10 inches by 4.5 inches with the bottom battery segment here. The included battery is 20,000 milliamp hours and it's rated for up to 60 hours of battery life, on the lowest fan setting. On top of powering the fan though, you also have an additional USB-A and USB-C port on the back. The USB-C is for charging the unit itself, but it can also work as a USB-C out. So you have two additional ports here if you need to top things off with a little extra juice. There's a built-in ambient light around the fan as well, so you kind of get a little night light for your tent. The entire fan has an oscillating function, or an auto oscillating function, I should say. It can also tilt up and down pretty significantly. One of the favorite things I saw though, you have a handle on the top here, but if you look underneath, you have a little stowaway hook So if you wanted to hang this somewhere at camp and have it upside down and kind of just hanging for, better airflow directly to you, you can definitely do that. It also has a spot for a built-in remote on the back, which I can definitely appreciate. Again, if you're in bed, you're hot, you don't want to get up, it is a welcomed addition. It comes out to $60 for this, which again, I think is a really reasonable price. I was very skeptical testing this thing out, but I have to say all of the function and design and everything here is really nice. So if you have any need for a camping fan that doesn't require a plug, this is really good. Really quick, I want to give a huge thank you to Trip Travel Gear for sponsoring this week's video and introduce you to a couple of items that I've actually been using for several years now. First up is their travel pouch. It's a tech organizer that measures 9.25 inches by 5.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Plenty of room to fit most of your cables and gadgets without being too bulky, but it's still large enough to hold an iPad mini or Nintendo Switch or one of the travel routers I've been absolutely obsessed with lately. Organization is super solid. There's lots of flexibility in the layout and a lot of easy access stretch pockets, which I love. I always want to optimize pouch space as much as possible during my trips. The outer fabric is plenty durable. You have water-resistant YKK zips and leather zipper pulls. Build quality is solid, especially considering the low price point. I also wanted to quickly mention their compression packing cubes. These have been a real favorite of mine for a number of years. They have a pretty big variety of sizes and bundles available, which is really great. The material feels nice, and the compression is absolutely a must for me. It makes things so much easier and more flexible for packing. You basically have multiple size options within a single cube. I really can't recommend them enough. Both the construction and the design are really good and the prices are amazing. It's also worth mentioning that Tripped is run by some fellow YouTubers, Tim and Fenn, which is really fun. Always good to put a couple of faces to a company name. Be sure to check them all out. Link is in the description down below. Huge thanks again to Trip Travel Gear for sponsoring this week's video. Got a headlamp up next. This is the brand new Nitecore NU27. I've been a long time user of the original NU25 headlamp. It's kind of been the ultralight king for a number of years, even compared to its newer model. This is the first one in a while that it's made me want to switch it out, and I'm really happy to be finally getting rid of another micro USB item as well. Aside from that though, this thing is a welcomed upgrade for me. Going over some of the basic specs, it weighs 2 ounces or 56 grams, has a max output of 600 lumens, and it actually has 3 different color temperatures available, so you can kind of have a cool, white, neutral, or warm. Really welcomed addition. You do still have the red light as well, so if you're camping with anyone or don't want to disturb your eyes, red light is always great for nighttime use. The main unit itself has 4 different bulbs, so it has a much wider spread than my single bulb NU25 that I've been using. Makes a big difference if you're hiking or navigating around in more difficult conditions. It charges via USB-C. The runtime is up to 57 hours on the low mode. It's IP66 water and dust resistant. Operation is super simple and easy, as you'd generally expect. It does also come with a couple of accessories that I really appreciated. First of which is this pouch. It's a little storage pouch, but it doubles as a diffusion bag, so you can kind of have a quick and light lantern setup if you're trying to save weight. You also have this little clip here that you can attach on if you want to use it to clip to a bag or your shirt or whatever else, kind of a multi-purpose clip. But all in all, really impressed with the level of quality and polish here. It's the first headlamp in a while that's made me want to switch out my old NU25, and I'm very happy to be doing so. Next up, we have a Monocular. This is the Nocs Provisions Zero Tube. If you've been around the channel for a very long time, you know I'm a longtime user of the Nocs Zoom Tube. This is a smaller, lighter weight version of it, essentially. Big fan of binoculars compared to binoculars. I'm not like a birder or anything, but I do love looking and watching birds when I'm out camping solo. The new Zero Tube is a 10 by 25 magnification. It's significantly smaller than the Zoom Tube. Like I said, it weighs 7.2 ounces or just over 200 grams. It measures 4.33 inches by 1.57 inches. Quality here is excellent, as I've come to expect from Nocs. I really love this outer material. It's really grippy and kind of adds some extra drop protection. It's also IPX7 rated, so essentially waterproof for my uses. They have some anti-fog technology, so the lenses don't get clouded up. It's also anti-reflective and anti-scratch, which is nice. You have a really solid pocket clip. It also comes with a storage pouch. All the Nocs stuff has a lifetime warranty as well. Continue to be impressed, and I'm happy to have an even smaller version to carry around. Any kind of weight savings is welcomed, and even for regular camping, it's just nice to be able to throw this in your pocket and be able to check a bunch of stuff out you normally couldn't. Next up on the list is the Rumpl Stuffable Pillowcase. This is kind of a travel pillow alternative. You know, I've reviewed and talked about a lot of travel pillows and camping pillows over the years. I'm a real sleep nerd, so I always try and bring that with me when I'm away from my home bed. This is a really good alternative option for a lot of us. So it is not a pillow, it is just a pillowcase that's designed to be able to stuff a puffy jacket or a blanket or whatever you want in here to kind of make it a pillow, save some weight and space when you're packing. Measures 17 inches by 12 inches. It's a little bit smaller than kind of a standard, queen-sized home pillow, but I think it's a really good size for camping. Very similar shape and size to my larger, Thermarest compressible foam pillow that I really love. Definitely not an issue for the sizing at all. Weighs 113 grams or about 4 ounces, a little bit heavier than I'd like for backpacking, but definitely not an issue for any kind of regular travel. I think this would have a really good application to be able to take on a plane with you. I normally always bring a jacket or some sort of outer layer that I can take on or off if the plane's hot or cold. Stuff it in here and you got yourself a little pillow for the plane while you're traveling. You have a different material on each side of the pillow. On this side here is called Cool Comfort. It's a poly shell. Then you flip it over here and it's a red polar fleece. So you kind of get something that's a little bit cooler for the summer months, a little bit warmer for, cold nights when you're out and about. It's fully machine washable too, which is a really nice touch. You also have a little built-in stuff sack here. If you unzip it, you can shove it all into this, which is really convenient. There is no zipper for the stuff sack though. You have just a little bit of elastic there. Probably a good way to save some weight, but makes things a little bit sloppier, and I thought it'd be worth mentioning. Overall construction feels pretty good. There were a couple of stitching issues for this little stuff sack. It got caught in the zipper, so I have a couple of loose threads around that, but everything on the exterior looks really good. Definitely feels premium and feels really nice. I wish it was just a hair lighter to be able to take for backpacking. I'm a real sucker for that stuff, and we're kind of getting to the territory here, a couple more ounces and I can take my full foam pillow, but great as an alternative. And I think there's a real application here for, more regular travel, having it on an airplane to have an impromptu pillow if you want to take a nap. Also from Rumpl, this is the Backcountry Puffy Travel Blanket. I've reviewed quite a few travel blankets over the years. I think they are extremely convenient. I like having something small and packable. You can throw it into your car and have it just in case of emergencies, or if you have an impromptu day at the beach or picnic or anything like that. Also really good for camping as an extra layer, and really good for any other kind of travel. This is their backcountry version, which is a little bit heavier and a little bit warmer than some of their other offerings. They have a pretty big span of options nowadays compared to the old Rumpl where it was just one blanket. Packed down like this, it measures 14 inches long and about 6 inches in diameter. When you fully take out the blanket, it measures 52 inches by 75 inches, so pretty similar to the dimensions of a full-size mattress. They do have a larger 2-person blanket available as well, but this is the 1-person. It weighs 1.8 pounds or about 815 grams. Overall quality here is really nice. It's not a down blanket. It uses kind of a down synthetic alternative called NanoLoft. You get a lot of the compression of down, but with a few extra benefits. One, it's going to work a lot better in wet conditions, something I'm all too familiar with here in the Pacific Northwest. It's also going to hold up a lot better if it's compressed for extended periods of time. Most of these blankets are going to live in their little stuff sacks here and not really come out to rest like most of us will take care of, a really high-end down sleeping bag. The outer shell is a 30D ripstop, and on the interior is a 50D. It's 100% recycled rPET fabric. I'm a little confused why they'd put the higher denier fabric on the interior instead of the exterior. It's typically reversed in my experience. You'd want more durability on the outside than the inside, but it's a little bit confusing, but the difference is not too great, so I don't think it really matters all that much. It feels really nice. It's definitely warm for the weight for a synthetic blanket like this. A few other extra features here definitely worth mentioning. There is a DWR coating on the exterior, so it's going to help repel any water. Really nice even with a synthetic. You also have a little zippered stash pocket pocket on the corner. Really good if you're taking this to like a game or something, or even when you're camping or at the beach. Always nice to have somewhere to tuck away your wallet and keys so you're not losing them. The buckle on the stuff sack itself is actually really nice. It's a bit different and simpler, but I like it a lot. It's reasonably easy to get back into the stuff sack as well. That's something I always check for these. It's sometimes a little bit too difficult to the point where it gets annoying. Definitely not too bad with this. The color I have here is called Redwood. There are a few other colors as well. Really nice quality and construction here, not much to complain about. Got another bag up next. This is the YETI Ranchero backpack. I first heard about this a few months back and I was really surprised. I didn't really know that YETI made backpacks, so I was very skeptical. I feel like they were just going to throw their name on something. So that was my first thought. My second thought was this looks a lot like Mystery Ranch. I did a bit of research and found out that YETI now owns Mystery Ranch. That makes a lot of sense. Mystery Ranch bags are excellent, and I am happy to report that this thing is really great. I'm not sure how long YETI's been making bags, but they are doing it really well here if something like this fits your needs. This one is 22 liters in capacity. They have a 27 liter version available as well. It measures 18.5 inches by 11 inches, and it's about 9 inches deep. It weighs a whopping 3.2 pounds or about 1.5 kilograms. This was kind of expected looking at the design and knowing Mystery Ranch bags, but with that heavy weight, you get something that is well worth the trade-off depending on your needs. This is probably one of the most, if not the most comfortable backpack I've ever worn. It is absurd how comfortable it is. There are a few different reasons for that. One, Mystery Ranch makes backpacking bags, and they are focused on designing big bags that are designed for really heavy loads. Kind of the opposite of ultralight backpacking, which is what I tend to focus a little more so on. But there are quite a few features here that you don't normally see in bags of this capacity. First and foremost, I really love the straps. You have this really good quality padding underneath. You have some good back padding here as well. You have load lifters built in, and it's just a very structured bag. It's almost like it has its own back support system, like a 50-60 liter backpack. Aside from the comfort though, there are a few other things I really like here. First and foremost, it is an upright sitting bag even when empty. Huge plus, especially for outdoorsy type of stuff. The exterior fabric is nylon and feels really good. They didn't actually have the exact weight on the website, unfortunately, but my guess would be somewhere in like a 200 to 400D range. On the bottom, you also have a rubberized exterior, so that's going to be really nice if you need to set it down in wet conditions. You're not going to have it soak through and get everything muddy. All of the zippers on the exterior are waterproof or water resistant at least. It's a really unique shape. You have this sort of top clamshell, and then you have a center zipper that goes through the bottom. I feel like this is going to be a little divisive and a love it or hate it type of thing, but you open it up and it's mostly an empty shell with a few extra organizational pockets inside. You have a zipper pocket on either side as well as a mirrored, water bottle shaped type of pocket. You have two sleeves for a laptop or a tablet, but otherwise it's a pretty big empty cavern. On the outside, you have two water bottle pockets on each side. These will hold, like a 26 to 30 ounce water bottle pretty comfortably. Much more than that, and it's going to be a little snug and annoying. There's a pretty big quick access pouch on the top with some 3D space, which is really nice. You'll also get quite a few extra straps if you want to attach things to the exterior. You have tons of attachment points all around, and I'm pretty sure you can use those straps as a sternum strap as well if you wanted to do that. But overall, I am quite impressed. Like I said, I thought this might just be sort of a slap our name on it and call it a day, and it's junk, even though it's YETI, which normally makes really good coolers and stuff like that. But I'm really impressed, and knowing that they bought Mystery Ranch, or Mystery Ranch bought them, I think it was YETI, but regardless, knowing that, it makes so much sense because the design language here screams Mystery Ranch as well as the quality. So definitely check it out. It's a distinctive bag with a distinctive look and set of features, but if it fits or calls to you, worth checking out. But that is the end of the list for today. I would love to hear what your outdoor adventures are for this year. I've been pretty busy with work and some home stuff lately, and I'm just itching and dying to get out. Backpacking season is about weeks away until the mountains are thawed out enough for me to go safely alone. Can't wait for that. I'm planning on a Mount Hood overnight trip as soon as I can safely go and have the time to. Thank you all so much for watching though, and I'll talk to you in the next one.